let's get into fucking tier list time, guys. Since I've been playing the game for the last couple of months, and so I just want to give like just general thoughts and opinions on the game from like the 300 hours I have in this game. So here, let's start with the character I know the most right now, which is Ivy. Ivy is the character I've probably sunk in the most hours into for like any character in the game. Ivy is in a state where the character is really broken because she could split push, she could heal, she has so much self-sustain. Like, this game isn't really a game built for supports, and they keep designing supports where they just kind of could sustain themselves and work solo. Like, they don't need to help their team if they're on the other side of the map, contributing more by just taking a free walk or something like that. And for that, I think Ivy is S tier right now. Ivy does that the best. Her flight is free because you could stun someone and then just dip out. Like, you have 3 people jumping you, and if they don't have the correct abilities, it's over. They just have to let you fly away, basically. And it's just not fun to play against. I think they need to redesign her ult. Genuinely, as someone who mains Ivy, it's not good and healthy for the game. Yeah, I just think the character is in a pretty rough state for the game's health right now, and I hope they either nerf her damage. Like, high key, the best thing they could do right now with Ivy is nerf her damage and redesign her ult so it's a little more healthy for the game overall. Second character, I'm gonna do. Oh, wait, do they not have Shiv on here? Fuck. If Shiv was here, he would also be S tier. I'll just kind of like put it here. Easily, like, Shiv and Ivy are the best characters in the game right now. If you're going against a Shiv and Ivy, they're most likely going to win because it's just like, it's that much of a gap in terms of how much the character can contribute to the game. Now we're going to go through kind of normal lists. We'll just go like fucking left to right and we could go from there. Abrams, I think, is a pretty solid character. He kind of falls off in like higher MMR. Most people at high MMR know how to parry, and so you got to be a lot more smarter with how you do your melees. Sometimes you gotta do some crazy like twists and turns and stuff, and it's generally a good thing for juking out people. For this, I'm probably gonna put Abrams at B tier. Abrams is a really solid beginner character, but he does fall off towards the latter. Like the higher you go in the MMR, the harder it is to play the character, which kind of rough, but it is what it is. He isn't terrible at the MMR. He still has stuff to get those melee attacks and stuff. Again, it's just like trying to get those melee attacks at high MMR. Next character is Bebop. Bebop I don't think is particularly great. I think Bebop has a lot of jank that you can do a lot of war crimes with. Like, the character is able to do some really, really stupid stuff with his hook. Like, it's kind of like old Roadhog hook where you just snipe someone from across the map and just eviscerate them on the spot. This character's design is really cool. I think they're really fun to play. But I do think, again, it's kind of a situation where it kind of falls off in higher MMR, and especially late game. Late game, he just doesn't have much to do. You try to get stuff like Warp Stone and Phantom Strike to maybe get an additional like punch or two in, but generally, I think I'm going to put him around C tier. He isn't awful or anything, but he's not great. Next character is Dynamo. Dynamo is probably the best designed support in this game right now. Dynamo doesn't have anything that's really unhealthy for the game. His kind of late game is a little boring. All he does is kind of pop ult, get refresher, and then pop ult again. Like, it's kind of a boring game plan, but I think generally he's actually really healthy for the game, and he's kind of in a position similar to like Abrams, where he does have the stuff he contributes to teams really varies from MMR to MMR. So like, I'd say he's just a well-rounded character, probably somewhere around like Abrams and B tier. Next character is Grey Talon. Grey Talon is easy A tier. This character has one of the craziest early lanes in the entire game. Like, laning against this character is a fucking nightmare because the amount of tools he has at his disposal. He could trap you. He could shoot you behind walls if he does his charge shot thing. His flight is really good for just completely destroying cover. It's just a nightmare. And he could split push really good too. Like, if he has the lead on you in lane, he could send his ult out, do some big damage on a different lane across the map, potentially kill him, and then just help the team overall. Like, he's a really good character. I think Grey Talon is easily one of the best characters in the game right now. Next character is Haze. Haze, I think, is also a really good character. A lot of the like really high damage characters like this are really good. Haze, if you get something like Silencer on her and she pops ult, it's just like, it could wipe an entire team if people aren't prepared for it. So that's pretty wild. Her sleep is really good for her getting away. I don't think her invisibility is like all that interesting to her gameplay. Like, I kind of understand that's kind of her gimmick, but like, it doesn't really contribute too much. It's good for getting some ganks off, but it really just like most characters you can kind of gank off of going like a high ground or anything. Like most characters you can kind of gank by going high ground. So I don't know. I don't think it's like that crazy of an ability. Her ult's really good. Her sleep is really good, and her like escalating kind of ability is also really good. I'd say she's just, again, really solid A tier. I wouldn't say she's as strong as Talon, but they're kind of in a similar position. Also, another character that's in kind of that, I'd say it's like the trifecta of these kind of characters is Infernus, too. Infernus, he's very much someone that contributes a lot into escalating exposure, and so if he lands his shots, that character goes crazy, and he get a hard carry. That character is mean. I think his flame is really good. He's not horrible to lane against, but sometimes he can be a little bit of a nightmare to deal with, especially when he's doing his dash and he's just destroying your creeps and stuff. Like, he puts a lot of pressure on people. I think he's a really good character. I wouldn't say he's like amazing for beginners, because you really need to land your shots to get the most value out of the character. But if you can land your shots, this character is really, really good. I'm gonna put him in A tier. Now the next character is Kelvin. Once again, this is a character I think is very strong. He has some interesting support abilities, him being able to completely just deny people with his bubble from either escaping, or if someone's trying to juke out the mid boss, he could put a bubble over it and just make it so people can't engage with it. It's really annoying strat. He's kind of one of the most obnoxious characters to play against. I don't think he's terribly designed or anything, but he's not really fun to play against, if you get what I mean. I think his beam is stupid. Like, it's one of my least favorite abilities in the game. It did get nerfed from an earlier version before this game went public, where it completely silenced when you got hit by that laser, which was evil, and he just like 90% of your movement was gone instead of, I think it's 60 now. Just evil character. He has that movement to really get across the map really well. He's very fast. So Richter and Smash Bros, I don't quite get the comparison, but maybe in some like strange way. Kelvin easily, I would also put him in A tier. Just really solid character. Next character is Geist. Geist is kind of similar to Abrams, but she's less reliant on getting her melees off, and she's able to throw her like big bomb that does crazy damage. She's a really interesting character. I don't quite know how well she does in high MMR. I honestly haven't played against her super well, but she's kind of annoying. Like, she's a really, really annoying character, especially like when you're solo laning against her and she gets her ult and she just swaps health pools with you. That's just really obnoxious. But do I think she's like super, super crazy? I'd say she's like on Abrams tier. She's like right next to Abrams in terms of how her skill kind of fluctuates in terms of her move pool and such. Next character is Lash. Lash is a really interesting character. I don't know how to play him, to be honest. I just kind of know from like an outsider's perspective what he's trying to do. And generally he's really big with his damage. He flies around the map. He just kind of, once he gets rolling, like if a Lash starts getting like rolling, he could be a nightmare in team fights, because he could just fly in, completely fuck your team and dip, and then probably kill some other people trying to escape. His movement's like some of the best in the entire game. He's a horrifying character, and I think his bio very much fits him in terms of his play style. I'd say I'd probably put Lash in maybe top of B tier. Yeah, maybe top of B tier. Now McGinnis. McGinnis, I think, is kind of in a similar lane as Bebop, where she kind of gets worse in terms of what she contributes to the entire team as stuff goes on. Yo, awesome, dude. Welcome. Nothing much. I'm just doing a quick little tier list right now, going over all the characters in this game. But McGinnis does very much kind of struggle with kind of contributing to the team overall. She can do some wacky stuff with going against objectives. She's able to kind of solo objectives super well. And if you're defending and like a team's attacking you, those turrets get really, really annoying when you're trying to attack a shrine or something. So she isn't awful, but she isn't great either. I'd probably put her around Bebop. I'd say this is like kind of where she belongs. Mo and Krill. This character's stupid sometimes. I think Mo and Krill are high-key some of the best tanky characters in the game, or character in the entire game. Mo and Krill is kind of wacky. He He's very fat. He runs at you with his one. He's really good at ganking people. Like, he's super fast. If you get Fleet Foot and you put it on your burrow, you can go like crazy across the map, get big damage, just soak in so much damage. His ult is able to kind of life steal and stuff. It's really stupid. He's a really stupid character at points. I'd say he's like one of the most fun characters in this game, and I wouldn't say he isn't like... It's weird. Some characters in this list I don't feel like are for beginners, and some characters I feel like are. Like, I wouldn't put a character like Infernus in for beginners, but I would put Mo and Krill in the game as like for beginners. You just kind of have to know like how his moveset works, and once you understand his moveset, you're able to make a game plan that's really simple and really effective across almost all like MMR. So I'm gonna probably put Mo and Krill in A tier. I might unironically get into this game just to understand you more. Well, I'm gonna also be streaming a little more. I might do like 1 or 2 more like solo games, and then I'll probably end the stream after that. Next character is Paradox. Paradox is just a super well-rounded character. She probably has the best design kit in the entire game. She puts up her wall, she has her snipe, she's able to do the swap. She just contributes so much to the team constantly, and I think they struck gold with this character. I think she's one of the best designed characters in this game, and honestly, they don't ever need to touch her. I think she's super good. I think she's, again, super well-rounded, great character. I'm going to put her in an A tier. Now, Pocket. Pocket is also a really good character. I think Pocket is kind of interesting. He does a lot of really interesting, wacky shit. If you do not have debuff remover, and this game's like late... If you don't have debuff remover, and this character is like late into his... what he's doing late game, he can really fuck up your team, because that poison like destroys you. That shit with escalating exposure just like deletes your health bar. It's one of the most insane things. He'll like juke out of nowhere, poison you, and your entire team is just like, oh my god, holy crap, we're low. Like, this character is kind of ridiculous. I'd also put him in A tier. There's a lot of A tiers in this game, but that's also because I don't think there's very many like badly designed characters in this game generally. I do think this next character, however, does have a little bit of some problems. I think 7 is a character that is kind of a noob stomper, but once you have like a basic understanding of the game, stuff like his ult becomes a non-issue, because most people, when they're fighting a 7, know to run knockdown, which completely interrupts his ult and makes it utterly useless. This character, if people don't know that, can destroy an entire area. Like, he could do Majestic Leap, go in the air, do his big, like, shoot sparky electric thing, and absolutely kill people. But if people know how to counter it, it's like a noob test kind of thing. I think this character could maybe get a potential redesign in some of his kit later on. I don't think he's like awful. I don't think any character in this game's awful, but if I were to put any character as maybe one of the worst characters in this game, it'd easily be 7, which is kind of unfortunate because I love his character design, and I think a lot of the ideas with him are really cool. It just kind of doesn't mesh well, like, amazingly. Fucking Vindicta. Vindicta is an interesting character. I don't know if I would put her like super high. I think Vindicta like fluctuates. I don't know where to put this character generally. Sometimes I feel like she's atrocious and she's like on 7 tier, and sometimes I feel like she's like really good. I don't feel like her flight ability contributes too much aside from like getting a line of sight for the snipe shot. And the snipe shot, I don't feel like does enough damage. That's my big thing with Vindicta. Sometimes I feel like her snipe doesn't contribute as much as it feels like it should. Like, you getting sniped by that thing, it has so much like visual flair for like warning you to like get out of her LOS and stuff, but I feel like when she actually lands the shot, it doesn't do like anything too crazy, honestly. And the fact she has 2 shots, like, it makes it, I feel like her ult should maybe be redesigned to be a 1-shot kind of thing, and it does just like big damage as if you landed 2 shots. I feel like it would just be a lot better of a design for her. But there's also other parts of her kit that are really good. I think the crows are really good. I think the like tether thing that like holds you down is one of the most obnoxious abilities in the game, but it's a really solid tool. She's an interesting character for a lot of reasons. I'd maybe put her in C tier. Maybe C or D tier. I think I'm gonna put her in C tier because I high-key think 7's the worst character in the game right now. Warden's probably... He's probably A tier. This character is really solid. He can cage you. He kind of runs at... This character is horrifying to deal with. If the Warden has like slowing hex or something like that and you get caged, it's just like, it's game over, like late game. Yeah, I think he's just a really solid character. I don't really have much to say about this character. He's really simple. He's kind of like a better Abrams in a lot of ways. He doesn't have the whole lifesteal aspect, but he kind of just runs at you and does a lot of damage. So I'd probably put him in A tier. Yeah, next character, Wraith, A tier also. Really solid, good ult. She's able to do a lot of damage real quickly. Her cards are really interesting as a mechanic. The teleport's a really good getaway tool. She's just interesting character. I think she's a generally super well designed character. I don't love her ult being able to chase after you across the map, but yeah, solid A tier. And then the next character is one of my least favorite character designs in this entire game, Yamato. I hate Yamato. On a visual level, I think she's ugly. On an ult design level, I think it's one of the worst designed ults of the game. It makes it so you can't die for like a couple of seconds, and it gives you like an opportunity to like get your like, you do a lot more damage. You're able to get all your cooldowns restored. You're able to heal like almost instantly. It's really stupid. I hate fighting Yamato. Like, if you're fighting a solo Yamato, it just feels like, oh, I'm gonna have to deal with a stupid phase where she could potentially run away, and it just never feels good to play against. I think they need to redesign this character high key a little bit, but I don't think she's like the worst character ever. She high key cheats like Shulk. Yeah, people like comparing it to Shulk and Smash in the chat. Yeah, she high key cheats. This character is a cheater. She's a little cheater. Fuck this character. But aside from that, here, actually, I'm gonna get an image of Shiv real quick so we can put him on here. Shiv, S tier. Fuck this character. But I'm pretty solid on this tier list. This tier list is pretty good. If you're trying to get into the game and you're like, oh, who are the best characters? I think this is a pretty solid list. I don't think any character in this game is not viable or anything like that. I don't think the meta's like developed enough for that yet. But if you want to play like the best characters, honestly, maybe everyone, but like maybe these bottom four are someone you should invest in. Yamato's a little hard, but yeah, maybe sometime I'll do like a video kind of going over like easiest to hardest or something like that. But for now, goodbye YouTube audience, and yeah.